Okay, question number 4. So question number 4 asks us, what is the square root of 1/2? Okay, so basically what it's asking is, what is the square root of 1/2? This fraction 1/2, right? Okay, let's start by using the rule. There is a rule for radicals. So I'm going to write this, I'm just writing it in green so you can see that it's the rule. So if we have a fraction of a over b with a square root, you can kind of imagine it as, instead of a square root, as an exponent, if this is easier to think of, because then you can think of distributing the exponent to each term within the bracket, so that it's a to 1/2 over b to 1/2. Or you can also think of it just going from this step straight to this step. Instead of a divided by b all within the square root, you have square root of a over square root of b. Okay, so that's the rule. So let's apply it to our square root of 1/2, okay? So if we have square root of 1/2, we have square root of 1 over the square root of 2. Now we know that square root of 1 is just 1 because 1 to any exponent is always just 1. And then, so we have 1 over square root of 2. Oops. Square root of 2. And now what we're going to do is something called rationalizing. Rationalize. And that is where we are multiplying this by we rationalize when we have a radical or a square root, I guess, on the number in the denominator. We want to get rid of the radical in the denominator, okay? We prefer to have them in the numerator when possible. So what we're going to do is rationalize, and that is multiplying the original sort of term here by the radical in the denominator, found in the denominator. In this case, it's the square root of 2. So when we multiply by this, I guess, rationalizing term, you can see that essentially this rationalizing term is equal to 1. So that's why we're allowed to multiply our term by this factor, because it is equal to 1. So technically, multiplying by 1 won't change the grand scheme of things, I guess, or the overall equation. It will just rationalize the factor we're looking at, okay? I guess a long-winded explanation, but so to multiply, we get square root of 2 on the top, and in the bottom, we get square root of 2 times square root of 2. Or you can think of this in a couple of different ways. You can think of it as, let's write it like this. You can think of it as 2 times, or 2 to the 1/2 times 2 to the 1/2. And you can add the exponents here. So we, in the denominator, get 2 to the 1, because we're adding 1/2 plus 1/2, right? So you get 1. Or you can also think of it like this in the denominator. You can think of it as squaring the 2 or squaring the square root. So when you're multiplying these two here. You can think of it in either way, all right? But in the end, you get the same thing. You get the square root of 2 in the numerator divided by 2 in the denominator. And I mean, it might seem a little bit silly to be going from this term to this term, but essentially what we're doing is we're getting it to, now this is what's called the exact form. And it's the preferred form because it has the radical in the numerator, right? And that is, yeah, what we prefer. Okay, so now that we are here, this can be your final answer. So the square root of 1/2 is the square root of 2 over 2. Or if you want to plug that into your calculator, then you get like an estimated value. I say estimated because there's following decimals, but this is the evaluated answer. Okay? Approximate, that's what the squiggly lines mean, the approximated answer. And that is everything for this problem. Okay? So we get the same thing in the solution. So we can say correct solution. Oops. And move on to the next question.